Yo, I am Mark Summers, and this is Double Dare. My bad. I mean, yo, I am Omar Gooding, and welcome to Wild and
Yo,
Crazy Kids.
yo, yo.
Let me stop. Yo, I'm Johnny Olden Jr., and welcome to the big college football show at 11. Got my boys here. M3, we all know him.
I'm upset.
He's always mad about
All right,
stuff.
Drake.
We got Josh from A House Divided
Yo.
and his running mate Marcus from A House Divided.
What up, though?
Yes, sir.
Sir. So today it's week 3. We getting into it. So we're gonna recap. Who was that? South Florida, Alabama. South Florida over Florida. So let's get y'all thoughts on that game. Go ahead, M3.
Yeah, so right now I think we talked about this. We have a production meeting before every show. And I said this in that production meeting that USF South Florida might have the best resume in college football right now. They've beaten 2 top 25 teams in Boise State and now the upset of Florida. I think that's a real threat, man. I don't think the coach is going to be there very long after this hot start, especially if he can keep this up. If they get a win today, which we'll talk about too a little later in the show, then, I'm sure that his phone is ringing off the hook. But with that said, Florida kind of choked this one away as well. But I got to give credit to South Florida for being there to take it when it was time to,
Facts. What you got on it, Josh?
All right. So there is a hype around South Florida. They are 2-0. They beat Boise State and Florida.
Facts.
Is Florida who we really thought they were?
They had a lot of hype
Is it
because
really
of
an
Lavin.
upset? True. But I mean, it's Florida. It's Florida. Billy Napier's
Boy,
on the
said you look
hot
like
team.
Desmond Howard.
That was crazy. I was going to ignore that, but that was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. They beat Boise State and Florida. I don't know that I have them beating Miami. Just throwing that out there.
Got you. What you got on it, Marcus?
So I think Florida going down to South Florida early in the season is only a surprise for you if you believed in Billy Napier. If you believed in, all right, it's coming. If you looked at the last 2 to 3 years of Florida football and said, nope, this is the year it's going to pop. Now, DJ Lagway set aside because I do still think that he's a really good quarterback, and he kept them in that game. Even in to say that, kept them in that game versus South Florida with the level of talent that they have. I think that at the end of the day, you can recruit out the wazoo. You can win the transfer portal. You can have all the high-end, skill talent that you want. If you don't have a winning culture, if you don't have winning at the forefront of what it is everybody in the program is trying to do, then you get Florida's. You get Texas A&M's of a few years ago. You get Tennessee's of a few years ago. You get teams that flash in the regular season and struggle to have postseason success. We've gone even further back down the spectrum with Florida because these guys, again, are losing to mid-majors early on in the season when they should just be able to out-talent them to a win. And that's just not the type of program that Napier and company has built there at Florida. So I wasn't surprised. I actually look for South Florida to compete in this game versus Miami off the momentum that they have of beating, picking up that win in Gainesville. But their season outcome withstanding, Florida is just about what I expected them to be.
Got you. The Maniac, what you got on South Florida over Florida?
They all cacaduro. No. No, man. Shout to South Florida. They didn't beat Boise. They dominated Boise. Let's be clear, right? We could say what we want, but that was total domination. Not even a control ass whooping. That was ass whooping. Now, the Florida game, a game that myself, I don't know about you guys, didn't give them, a chance to win. Well, you always got a chance, but, like they could happen, but it's not going to happen. This was supposed to be the year where, Florida wasn't not going to win the SEC East. We know we favoring Georgia to do that. And, DJ Lagway, this is his second season. This guy could potentially be a Heisman candidate. That's how good he is. But, they didn't look bad Saturday, but they maybe, like Josh said, maybe they're not who we think they are. But there was a lot of hype, like Johnny said. And typically with the SEC teams, that happens a lot, especially media. And, Florida still has chances to redeem themselves. They do have Texas, who comes into Gainesville this year. They get a win against Texas. Hey, people are going to forget that South Florida win, especially if South Florida continues to win. And I think today they don't need to beat Miami. All they have to do is be competitive. If it's a 21-17 game, then you can legitimately say, nah, these guys are for real. How for real? We don't know. There's still a lot of season left, but South Florida is definitely a team that I don't think now people are looking forward to playing.
Got you. Yeah, my thoughts on it, USF is playing tough. They're playing tough and trying to build that culture, and it looks like it's working so far. I stay right down the street from USF, so I might have to get me a hat or something. You know what I'm saying? Support local teams. But I didn't believe when a player has a little too much hype and you don't know exactly how the rest of his team is, I always kind of pump my brakes because I don't know. I have to see it. Yeah, you had showed promise as a young player, but the next step is about the consistency, doing things right, and then also having your defense to help you. Your offensive line is everything else going to be put together so you can reach that next echelon of success. And I never believed that it was there yet. I thought it was just a lot of DJ Lagway. Okay, but what's around him though? So that's kind of how I feel about it. So I guess we're gonna move on to the last game. We're gonna let Josh touch on the Michigan verse because all of us have gave our opinion on what we saw against Michigan and Oklahoma. So we're gonna let the Buckeye give his take on what he saw. And should we take it? Yeah.
It is what it is. We all saw that Michigan lost to Oklahoma, and I predicted that. So I'm not going to get too far into that. The real question is, what is Michigan's schedule outside of Oklahoma and Ohio State? The playoff picture lies in Oklahoma and Ohio State. You've already lost to Oklahoma. Everything pretty much rides on you guys now beating Ohio State a fifth time. What are y'all thoughts on that? That's what I really want to know. Go ahead.
Hey, Josh.
So first of all, I think we're a little bit confused. I think we still have the mindset of a 4-team playoff system. Did we not forget that we added an erroneous 8 teams to this thing that can get in at any point? 10-2 from a Big Ten team is going to get you into the playoffs. We will fall into the playoffs at 10-2. Absolutely will fall into the playoffs at 10-2. That's absolutely.
But you lost to the only.
No. Now, is that what I want? Is that what I want? No, that's not what I want. So in terms of my season expectancy, yeah, a lot still rides on the final game as it did when we started the season. But I just wanted to readjust some expectations here. If Michigan goes through the season losing an out-of-conference game to what will probably end up being a top 10 team at the end of the season, and then what will probably end up being somewhere around top 10 to top 5 team in Ohio State, and those are the only 2 losses, they're a shoo-in playoff team. Shoo-in.
We go based off of a playoff committee that ranks your best win. what would be
Right.
your best win in that situation?
Oh no, I didn't say that they would be properly seeded. I didn't say that they would have a good seed. But you
No,
don't
I mean,
think that
even at
a
12.
blue blood program, a program that just won a national championship 2 years ago, at 10-2, right? And only lost to what maybe, let's say you guys beat us and go on to win the champions or win the Big Ten title. So now lost to a conference champion and then probably 2 conference champions at that point. Doesn't get in anywhere from 8 to 12.
I would say shoe in. I don't know. I think you're definitely in the playoff picture. But when we evaluate Michigan at that point, it's what's their best win. And I don't know what that is at this point. If you lose to both Ohio State and Oklahoma.
I don't
And
like
anybody else
entertaining
can
the
chime in.
circumstance anyways, because there's no way we about to lose to y'all. But I'll let you finish your thing. I just want.
But no, I really just want to hear everybody else's thoughts on that specific situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Go ahead, M3 or Maniac.
Yeah, so going in, obviously I had Michigan to lose to Oklahoma, so I'm not surprised by the loss. I am surprised on how they lost, right? So now every game moving on is winnable, and there's a lot of games that are losable for Michigan based on what we saw if things don't get patched up. But if we are 10-2, Josh, and only losses coming to Oklahoma and Ohio State, then yeah, I don't think those are bad losses, right? If we lose to Wisconsin, we lose to Washington, then, I mean, obviously we won't be in the playoffs, but those are bad losses. So going 10-2, losing to the 2 best teams on your schedule, I don't think it's a bad look. And of course, it's how you lose. If we play Ohio State and we lose and we get dominated in similar fashion that Oklahoma did us, then yeah, it could look a certain way. But 10-2, I'll take it. Honestly, as a Michigan fan, I'll take 10-2. But, you know, this is the Michigan team we saw last Saturday. It's not the Michigan team you're going to see in November. Not saying that guarantees we win, but I'm 1,000% we'll be much better then.
Yeah, so I got a couple things to say first. Like, obviously we want Oklahoma to keep winning. That looks great for us. At the same time, Oklahoma has a really tough schedule, so them being a top 10 team at the end is not guaranteed. They got a really rough road ahead. So, you know, that could hurt a little bit in terms of like how people perceive that loss for Michigan. Also, I think that, like Josh said, we don't know what our best win is going to be, but that's the beauty of it too, because if Nebraska can, you know, somehow make a run and keep winning or whatever, and we're able to beat Nebraska, then that looks like a good win. You know what I mean? The same for USC or, you know, whoever. And that's the beauty of where we are right now, is that we don't know who's going to be good or who's going to make a run, or if a team that we thought was going to be decent ends up not being. So either way, that hurts. And then, of course, at the end, we all know that game matters the most, really, a lot, especially for Michigan now having a loss, and you know the rest of your schedule doesn't necessarily. And talking about, when I say your, I'm talking about the other state, or Ohio State. I'm sorry, doesn't necessarily look daunting, right? You got Penn State, but you guys kind of own Penn State. That said, we kind of own Ohio State right now, so we'll see how it shakes out at the end. But you know, we need Oklahoma to keep winning. Obviously, that looks great. If not, then it gets a little rocky for us.
Yeah, my opinion on this, you know, if we lose to Oklahoma and then lose to Ohio State, if we 10-2, we in the playoff. Hey, you know who this is? We in there.
Blue blood, baby.
So it don't matter to me. The goal is to make the playoff, you know. So if we get in licking our wounds like y'all did last year, that's fine with me. So
this helps us, by the way.
Okay, so if we're comparing your 10-2 season to our 10-2 season, we had beat a Penn State. So like
we don't play
what
it.
What if Nebraska is our Penn State? Illinois could be our Penn State.
I guess my only question to all of this is the thought of being a shoo-in when there may be other 10-2 teams that have better wins than y'all.
Now that's a fact. That's a possibility. But if Michigan goes 10-2 with losses against Oklahoma, we don't know how good they're going to be. But let's say we lose to Ohio State. We know y'all won't have more than one loss probably, if that. So that's going to pick it up if it's a close game. Now, if we get ragdolled, then that's a different story. But it's still going to be – we're still going to be right there. We'll be on the fringe regardless. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to get that bid.
Don't nobody have faith in Michigan State being ranked at the end of the season?
No.
Hey, stop it. Stop it. Hold on. No, I need to tag in here real quick because, bro, y'all lost to the other best team on your schedule a season ago. You beat Penn State, yeah, but what was the other quality win in the regular season?
We beat Penn State and we beat Indiana, which would be more. Look. Indiana, a playoff team, which is still a better resume than what a 10-2 Michigan would be at that.
Oh,
at that point.
but you're assuming though. We're assuming Oklahoma isn't going to be a playoff team. We're assuming,
true, but you have a win against a ranked team.
That's fair.
That could be fair.
USC could be ranked.
We don't know.
No, USC will be ranked.
Yeah,
USC will be ranked when we play them.
Your best win.
Michigan State's
Nebraska.
going to be ranked coming up.
It all varies, right? Because let's put this in perspective. Who would have thought that Indiana was going to be a playoff team last season? Let's call it like it is. Ain't nobody here, nobody in their right mind. Logically, that shouldn't even sound right. Indiana in playoffs. Unless you're talking about the Pacers and basketball, then yeah. But in college football, absolutely not. So, yes, I still think Indiana, when you look at it, they were frauds. They just were a good team that had their schedule set up right. Shit, we were the ones that exposed them. And then, a week later or two, they went into Columbus and got clotheslined. And then when they went into the playoffs, they got dominated. So what was Indiana's best win last season in their regular season?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Honestly,
They didn't play Michigan. Oregon. They didn't play Penn State. They played us on the down year and barely beat us. They went life and death with us. They lost to y'all. So Indiana, to me, bro, again, they were a cool story. Cinderella, it turned midnight once the playoffs came, and you saw what happened. So, college football is like that. Some teams just get the benefit of the doubt. They're being a good team, plus the schedule setting up real good for them, which was Indiana's situation last year. But every time they played a good team, they didn't win or they struggled.
And I didn't bring this up to I guess, cause an argument. I actually said it to kind of hype up the Ohio State situation, but
let's move on. This guy.
I need 2 belts. That's all. I'm getting a white belt this time.
Just chill. We got a long season to go, a lot of rankings and different things. Let me read this membership. So Town Health Services. Appreciate the new member, Town Health Services, always donating to the page, always showing support. Appreciate it. And we got Asian Posh also, who been a member for 2 months. Appreciate you, Posh. She's always sharing the stream. OSU fan, and she's dope. So, and she also has a show on Voice of College Football.
Yeah.
The women or the ladies of college football, I believe it's called. But check it out.
No doubt.
So we're gonna move on to the Big Five, the week 3's best games. First matchup we got is Wisconsin at Alabama. Josh, what you got?
So, from what I understand, Billy Edwards will not be in this game. Yeah, therefore, even though at times we've seen Bama and they've looked absolutely out of it, I still have Bama winning this. It's in Bama.
Yes.
No Billy Edwards.
20.5 point favorites. You think they cover?
Ooh.
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Really depends on how Wisconsin's offense gets going without.
We don't know much about them. They haven't really played anyone.
That too. So
and they struggled with one of those.
I definitely have them winning. 21 is a lot, but it's very possible. Very possible.
No doubt. Marcus?
Yeah, man, this was an interesting pick because I think this is 2 teams that are kind of struggling with identity. I think Alabama's a little bit closer to who they are offensively, Wisconsin doesn't have a clue. I'm very surprised by Luke Fickell. I'm very surprised by him because the decision to like totally revamp not just their offense at Wisconsin, but their culture, like who they were, their area presence, right? Their recruiting presence has even changed. You're not walking into kids' living rooms anymore and being like, listen, this is an NFL factory for offensive linemen. Right. You want your kid to be a lottery pick from the offensive line. He comes to Wisconsin. They ain't doing that no more. They can't do that anymore. So what's the pitch?
Yeah,
we're cheesehead light. You know what I'm saying? We diet Green Bay. You know, there's not much of a sell there anymore. So I'm surprised that he went that far into that direction. I'm gonna go Bama, just based off the fact that I think that they can move the ball. I don't think Wisconsin can competently move the ball in any type of fashion that shows an identity right now. So I'm gonna go Bama.
Got you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maniac.
Yes, Marcus, and great points regarding the identity of Wisconsin. They pride themselves on O-line and running backs. O-line and running backs. And we know for years in the 2000s, that's something Wisconsin never had an issue getting, is elite O-line and elite running backs. Now, offensively, they the dollar menu, man. They got a dollar menu offense. This is their defense. To me, I think they're solid. I think their defense could keep them in this game. But if they on that field too long, then it could get, in the words of my brother Mays, it could get very sharp ranks for Wisconsin because they do not have the firepower. If they down 14-zip within the first 10 minutes, then this game is over. I think they need a control clock, run the ball, make it ugly, and hopefully some bounces go their way. Muff punts, interceptions, fumbles, Alabama missing field goals, stuff like that. I just think that on the defensively they can hang with Alabama physically, but offensively absolutely not. So you got to give Bama the advantage here. I think 20 is like right there. I'll give them about a 20-point win, but at the same time I could see them winning by 4 touchdowns.
Facts. What you got, M3?
Yeah, so I saw one of the comments in the chat said Wisconsin gonna make it look like Saban back, which brings me to that what's the Meek Mill song, the Tupac back, and it might look like that today. Honestly, I think they covered this 20.5. I just don't think Wisconsin has the horses. I believe Marcus brought up, they're not walking into these offensive linemen's houses and their living rooms no more saying this is a factory for offensive linemen, which brings me to a point I wanted to bring up. Today, I know historically Wisconsin is the better program. We don't even need to debate that. But today, Luke Fickell left Cincinnati to go to Wisconsin. Is Wisconsin a better situation than Cincinnati today? I don't know for sure that it is. Especially being in I'm taking into account, of course, the conference. Now, if you're talking about money from the conference, no doubt about it that Wisconsin's the better situation. But where Wisconsin is situated geographically, where Wisconsin is situated just within the Big Ten, in the hierarchy of the Big Ten, Cincinnati might be a better destination in terms of being able to get guys that you want to get. Not necessarily, you're not going to be able to get the top end guys just because you're at Cincinnati or anything like that. I'm just saying that maybe it's a better situation. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I do think Bama covers this spread today because Wisconsin doesn't have the horses to stop them from doing it.
In terms of ease of recruiting, Wisconsin should absolutely be the better option, but Luke Fickell is not making it look that way.
Yeah, Luke Fickell, similar. I'm getting Rich Rod PTSD. It's coming back, thinking about what Luke Fickell is doing in Wisconsin. Some things if it's not broke, don't fix it. You've got a base of great linemen, great running backs. All you need to do is get a really good quarterback and try to add in some receivers. Okay, we're not going to go air raid. We're just going to be more balanced. Mm-hmm. End of story. And play good defense. Yeah. Wisconsin wasn't really broke. You just had to make them more balanced if that's what you wanted to do. But he kind of went rich rod with it, and it's always hard when you've got that culture for so long. So I don't think they'll be able to keep up with Bama, mainly because what he's trying to do on offense. Right now, it don't look like they run or pass the ball that well. So, like Marcus was saying, I don't know how they're going to consistently move the ball on Bama. Now, on Bama's side, Kalen DeBoer, you better not let Wisconsin find a way to somehow stay in this game. You better not do it, because they're going to be coming pitchforks, and the mob, the Bama mob is coming for you, brother. So
you say him and Deshaun Foster being an unemployment line together, they both going to be applying to McDonald's.
Bro, Deshaun Foster out of there, bro.
He's the Sean Foster about to be a Chipotle manager in another
Put the
month.
fries in the bag, Foster.
Yo, extra guac, homie. I said extra guac, B.
Yo, crazy.
So yeah, that's I don't see Wisconsin winning it, but DeBoer better not let it. For him, you better not even let this game be close, because they watching you real close in Tuscaloosa. Let's move on to the next game. We got Ole Miss at Arkansas. Arkansas had just lost, and they'll be trying to get back on track going against Ole Miss. This is SEC West battle. Who you got? Let's start with M3 first this time.
Actually, it's at Ole Miss, and they are 6.5 point favorites. I think Ole Miss just struggled last week with Kentucky, right?
Correct.
That was on the road, though, I believe. I could be wrong about that, right?
That was in Lexington.
Right. And to that point, Arkansas is playing pretty good football so far this year. But I still think Ole Miss wins this game. They are at home. And I think they cover this spread. The thing is, they just got the talent, man. Like Arkansas, I like what they're doing so far, and they got some talent over there too. But I just think that Ole Miss has recruited so well since his name is escaping me, and it's crazy because he was my coach too. Lane Kiffin, right? He coached the Raiders for a minute. Lane Kiffin has been there. They've been recruiting really well. And I think they win this game, and it's not this close, by the way. But we'll see.
Maniac, what you got?
Yes, sir, man. So you got the Ole Miss, the Rebels, the Hottie Toddy. I don't know why they named it. Who came up with that for them? That's just disgusting work, Hottie Toddy. But Lane Kiffin is a coach who's everyone know who he is, and he has some James Franklin syndrome into him, right? Whenever it looks like he's about to break out, it looks like Ole Miss is about to be in the forefront of college football. They do this. Reggie Miller, they choke. They do the choking. So you just don't know what Ole Miss, man. You really don't know. One game, yes. One game, no. Yes, on paper, this is a game they should win, but it's a conference game, right? The West, these guys know each other. They play each other just about every year. And talent-wise, yes, they got Ole Miss has a versatile quarterback, very good running back. They do have the weapons. And Lane Kiffin, at the end of the day, is definitely one of the better play callers in all of college football. He gets in there and he do what he does. So Arkansas, I think they slightly outmatched. But look, if this game is a game in the fourth quarter, will absolutely not shock me at all, because Ole Miss tends to Ole Miss. But I'm going to go with them in the dog fight. I'm going to pick the running Rebels.
Got you.
Does anybody else find it weird that Ole Miss's mascot is still Confederate soldiers in 2025? That's just a random thought I was thinking about when we.
It's tradition, Marcus.
Sure. Okay. Anyways, I'm going Ole Miss. I'm going Ole Miss over Arkansas. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about either one of these rosters. I do know that, like y'all said, Ole Miss struggled last week with the team that they expected to beat in Kentucky. That's usually a spot for Lane to have a big offensive output. Give me the Rebels.
Got you. What you got, Josh?
Ole Miss has a very tough schedule. They see LSU, Georgia, they see Oklahoma, they see South Carolina. They're going to lose some for sure, but it's not going to be against Arkansas. I don't see it. Not at home. They got this one.
Facts. Yes, sir. So I'm pretty much the same way as Josh. I just don't see it happening. Lane Kiffin seems to have Ole Miss going where they're pretty reliable for the most part. For the most part, they're pretty reliable. For the most part. So I'm gonna take them. I don't think Arkansas has the horses to get it done, at least not this year. So I got Ole Miss. So now we're gonna move on to our third matchup. We got Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. Where Notre Dame by that? Where yet? Is Notre Dame gonna win a game? They haven't won a game yet. So,
which is crazy.
Marcus, what you got? Will Notre Dame win this time?
Hey man, listen, I feel like I didn't pick Notre Dame for 2 weeks straight. I didn't pick Notre Dame these first 2 weeks, and they ain't been doing me no justice. Now, CJ Carr, I'm gonna need you to kick it into gear, because here we go for the third week in a row. I'm going to go with the favorite. I'm going to pick Notre Dame at home to beat a lowly not lowly, but a lesser, I guess I would just say, Texas A&M team. I do expect them to be able to run on Texas A&M. They can't stop a water leak. So what's the running back's name? Love. Jeremiah Love should have a big game today. Other than that, man, I guess I'm just trying to see what CJ Carr is made out of. I want to see how far they're going to be able to go behind his arm. Is this, a different version of Riley Leonard last year, or is it a step forward? Do you have an actual guy who can make a difference? They're going to have to show it at some point. I don't know if it'll be today because, like I said, they have a decided advantage in a running game. But at some point, he's going to be placed in a position to have to win a game. So we'll see how that goes.
Maniac, what you got on Notre Dame and A&M?
Yes, sir. The Golden Domers. So they actually had about 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They had a bye last week, so that sour taste that Miami gave them, bacata, they had to deal with it for 2 weeks. Now A&M is a team that, we don't know. What's their quarterback's name? It just I forgot A&M's quarterback. I know he's number 10.
Someone could look at something like that. And is his name?
He's a very versatile quarterback. He can beat you with his legs. Hey, Michigan, hi, beat you with his legs. Yeah. So I think that this is going to be a close game. As much as I do want A&M to win this game, honestly, because just my Notre Dame bot, but I think Marcus Freeman is a legitimate coach. He's gonna have his team ready. They playing in South Bend. This is the opener. It's gonna be a goodie. Could definitely go either way, but I think Notre Dame finds a way to win. And similar to last season, low scoring, not an exciting game, but a 2014 kind of game, 23-17 kind of game. I'm going to go with Notre Dame, but I'll be rooting for A&M. I'm sorry.
Got you. M3.
Yeah, so by the way, Notre Dame has only played one game so far. And they lost that to Miami.
I picked them in week 1 or week 2.
Yeah. Right. But with that said, right, and by the way, I don't blame CJ Carr. CJ Carr had a decent game, especially for his first ever start. I thought he played well. The problem was the play calling. I think they went away from Jeremiah Love. You got to give him those touches. You got to let him run the football. Granted, CJ Carr ran the ball pretty effectively, but that's the same thing that they did in the championship game against Ohio State a season ago, where they killed that quarterback on drive number 1. Drive number 1, my man was tapping out. But they can't. I hope that they don't plan to do that with CJ Carr all year, especially against the tougher teams. That said, Texas A&M is a solid football team, man. They played them tough a year ago. Now, granted, that one was was at home for Texas A&M, and now they're traveling to South Bend, but it's not like South Bend has been a safe haven for the Irish. They've lost to Northern Illinois there, Marshall there. They got a referee stimulus package against Cal there a couple years ago. Yeah. They, lost obviously to Ohio State there and away, but I mean, they just can't seem to beat Ohio State. I don't know nobody's alive that saw them beat Ohio State. But
very interesting point, by the way. I'll get to it in a second.
Yeah. So, but the point is that this is, I think I agree with Maniac. This is going to be a tough game. It's going to be a close game. I believe, though, in the end, Texas A&M wins this one. It's just my thought because I haven't seen Notre Dame to this point, and it's been one game for them. Do the right thing and get a ball to Jeremiah Love. So if they are going to continue with a similar game plan against Texas A&M, I think they'll have a similar result.
Facts. Josh, what you got on the...
So I know it's going to happen, but it really shouldn't at this point. If I hear Lou Holtz ever mention Ohio State ever again, if Texas A&M beats Notre Dame at home and they're completely out of the playoff picture at that point, I don't know what I'm going to do. Lou Holtz should never mention Ohio State ever again if Texas A&M comes into South Bend and beats Notre Dame and lost my mic and takes them.
Mike said you want some bullshit and the league alone.
That's how mad I am at an 88-year-old right now. Okay,
man, that Mike said, "Get out of here with all of this elder abuse."
Damn, facts. This brother's speaking right now. Anyway, the point is, if they lose to Texas A&M, there's no playoff picture. They have nobody else. If what I said about Michigan is true, it's 1,000% true for Notre Dame if they don't beat Texas A&M.
Got you. So my thoughts on this, and that Lou Holtz had nothing to do with the game. I just had to say that. but my thoughts on this game is Notre Dame got a lot of hype from last year. They made the championship with a young team, and people just kind of automatically, they were a young team, so they're going to automatically be really good this year. And I just don't go by that. When you got a new quarterback, you kind of got to the championship with a slightly easier road because of injuries and the side of the bracket that you were on. So I'm not sold on Notre Dame. The fact that they played Miami, you're supposed to have the best running back in the country. You give him like 10 carries. That's coaching malpractice. And Jeremiah Love, I got some advice for him. Stop jumping over everybody, bro. You gonna get hurt again. You keep it up. Keep it up, jumping over everybody. Like, bro, what are you doing?
I just know it's a safety on their schedule that's lining it up. Like, all right, I see it.
Yeah,
I'm
waiting on him. So that's the thing with them. This is a big time game. Marcus Freeman gonna really have to show up because if they lose this game, they're probably not making a playoff, and your hopes and dreams for the season are going. I went down the drain in week 3 almost already. Like there's after that you have no margin for error. So I don't like Notre Dame mainly because Notre Dame bot now. So he bothers me. So I'm picking against Notre Dame, but I've also had these picks for a while now that I could see them losing to Miami and to A&M. So I'm going with A&M to win this one.
Yeah. And just real quick, that they have Notre Dame has another good running back. Was it Trice or Price? Number 24. He's good. So
it's Price.
Yeah, he did good against Miami. So I don't know if Love is still, maybe there's something lingering there, because in a game of that magnitude, he only gets 10 carries. That just doesn't make sense to me. There had to be something deeper. So yeah, if they're gonna be A&M, we got to see more Jeremiah Love.
Facts. Yes, sir. So we got the next game. We're going to Florida at LSU. Now, Florida is licking their wounds off of losing to South Florida. Shout out to USF Bulldogs. I stay right down the street. But What do y'all have with them going against LSU? M3, what you got?
So Florida obviously was upset last week at home against USF. LSU, on the other hand, got an upset week 1 against Clemson. I believe that was an upset, right? They weren't favored to win that game. Either way, they got a top 5 win over Clemson at the time. Brian Kelly, I said this before that game week 1 when I picked successfully, by the way, LSU to win that game. I said, Brian Kelly, it's Brian Kelly's turn, bro. It's his time at LSU. He's won. He's recruited very well there. And to most people, a lot of people's chagrin, Brian Kelly did a great job at Notre Dame. I stand by that. He didn't win a national championship. No, we talked about how when they showed up to that natty against Alabama, that it looked like a JV team. Looked like a JV team versus the Monstars. No doubt about it. And then he made the CFP twice, I believe.
Yes.
And he lost both times in the first round. That said, though, I mean, look what he took over, right? Charlie Weiss hadn't done. Is it Charlie Weiss was his name?
Yes.
Charlie Weiss hadn't done a thing. Who got that job after they fired Willingham, by the way, before I thought they should have. But that's a whole nother story. And then Charlie Weiss's early success was with Willingham players. And then, Brian Kelly came in, kind of changed the culture there, had them back on, the national in the forefront of the national mind, if you will. He's a good coach. I say all of that to say he's a good coach. Now, does he have shortcomings? Absolutely. Does he choke a little bit? Absolutely. But I think they handle business against Florida. Maybe DJ Lagway isn't what we thought, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe it's time to have these kinds of discussions. All right. Maybe my man in Florida, who, by the way, is going to be joining Deshaun Foster in the unemployment line as well, if he doesn't get together quickly, by the way, and by quickly I mean with a win like at LSU, he's not who he is, who they thought he was, right? So I just think LSU takes care of business here. By the way, that it should be minus 6.5. That's my fault. LSU is the 6.5 favorites here, and I think they more than cover that today at home in Death Valley.
Got you. Maniac, what you got?
Yes, man. Another big SEC matchup. You got the Gators against the Tigers. Absolutely, Florida coming off a bad loss at home to a team that they should have beaten. Now, LSU has a very good win. Week 1, they went into Clemson and won a fist fight. Week 2 against Louisiana Tech, they didn't look so dominant. I mean, they won the game, but I expected that game to be a little more lopsided. Again, maybe they didn't want to show much to Florida, but again, it's a week-by-week basis in college football. 1 week, you look like the best team. The next week, you could look like a mid-team. But this is the game, again, it's easy. The obvious is LSU, and maybe like M3 said, maybe this is Brian Kelly's year. This is his year in LSU to perhaps make the playoffs, make a deep run, and the SEC get to the SEC championship, win it, lose it, whatever, but at least a playoff run, to say the least. But I think Florida, they fighting for their lives, right? If there's any glimpse of hopes of making the playoffs, they must win today. So I'm expecting the Gators to come in here and this to be another fist fight. I don't see LSU as a dominant team. I see them as a good team that just knows how to win. And that's all that matters, though. You don't need to win pretty, just win. So I am going to pick LSU, but I think this is going to be a close game as well, unless the team just gave up on Billy Napier. And we'll see today, man, because if they just get blown out the stadium, yeah, he might get his walking papers as soon as the clock turns 0. But LSU.
Got you. Marcus, what you got on them?
Yeah, I guess I'll give old Brian Kelly a bone. I'll throw him a bone this week and say he'll pick up a big time win if that's what you call beating Florida. If you can't tell, I have absolutely zero confidence in Billy Napier. I count Napier in the same class as the coaches that I count like a Mario Cristobal. I think they've come from, good coaching trees. They have a lot of affiliations across the sport, and that mostly carries their reputation. But when you look at the on-field product, you see teams that are penalty riddled, that have bad discipline, who have a lot of coverage bust on defense, a lot of missed assignments on offense, missed blocking assignments. Those are not traits of good coaches. And so when I see those things perpetuating a program, but then the coach gets bigged up every time on game day or big noon kickoff because they have a lot of offensive output, or because they recruit at a high level, or they have the local 5-star that's showing up for a visit. It's like, yes, all of that stuff is needed in college football, but it means nothing if you can't create a system that works. Right? If you can't create a winnable system, a system that creates winning conditions. I don't count Napier of that grade of coaches. As much as I do not care for Brian Kelly, I cannot put him in the same class of coaches who hasn't experienced a winning culture. And so somebody who's been in a national title game, somebody who has competed at the highest levels in Power 5 football, I give a little bit more respect to Brian Kelly than I do to Billy Napier. I'm going to go LSU.
Got you. Josh, what you got on this game?
So Maniac made some really good points that I agree with. I think in week 1, LSU looked like world beaters, looked like probably even SEC champs, one of the most complete teams in the country. And then in week 2, they regressed a little bit. They should have absolutely beat Louisiana Tech by a lot, and they didn't. But at the same time, as long as they continue to find ways to win, especially against teams like South Carolina, who they have coming up, Texas A&M, Alabama, I think they'll be perfectly fine. And Florida is not a team that poses a real threat to LSU at home for LSU. So I got LSU winning this one.
Got you. My thoughts, I could definitely see Florida winning this game, but I'm just not sold on them as a team all the way just quite yet. And it don't get easier for them. They lost to USF. They SEC schedule is tough. They got a tough schedule. Same with like Oklahoma and some of these other teams that just have murderers row. So I don't think Florida is exactly ready yet is to deal with what they have to go through this year. And I don't think that the team chemistry and the culture is all the way there to be able to handle it. I think LSU is further along with Brian Kelly. And I think LSU can actually live up to more expectations this year. So and having Nussmeier, that also helps. So I'm going with LSU. I'm not a believer in Florida. Because I'm pretty kind of down on them. So y'all cooked, and I think Florida might be cooked. So
Gator
let's go
bait.
on to our last matchup. Go ahead.
No, Gator bait.
Gator bait. Yeah, definitely. So we got our last matchup before the game of the week, and that's South Florida at Miami. South Florida's just coming off the big win against Florida. All these Floridas is getting congested. But yeah, South Florida is just coming off that big time win against Florida. Miami had the week 1 big win against Notre Dame. What do y'all have on it? Go ahead, Josh.
Isn't it crazy that South Florida, Florida State, and a couple of other Florida teams down there are all figuring it out all at once, and yet Florida still can't get right.
I can't get right.
Billy Napier just can't get right down there for some reason.
Great point.
Miami.
Out of Pappy.
I'm just throwing that out there.
But tell y'all, man.
I know there's a lot of hype down there at USF. I do think they potentially bring a good game to Miami. They have all the reason to do so, especially if they want to somehow get into the playoffs as a dark horse pick to get into the playoffs. But I do think Miami has convinced me at least a little bit that they can at least get the job done here against USF. So I got Miami winning it.
Okay, what you got M3 on this big time matchup?
Yeah, so I do think South Florida's run stops here. They have been, the upset kings in the first 2 weeks, right? The win over Boise, win over Florida. I like the quarterback Brown a lot. But I do think that Miami is different. I like Miami's defensive line. I think they can get pressure. I think they're pretty decent against the run. As long as they're not, the numbers match up, because what Notre Dame was able to do with them with the quarterback is just add that extra number. And of course, USF has that ability, by the way. They have that capability to run the quarterback as well. Here's the thing. With these Florida teams, especially, with those major three, and now we got to add USF probably to that as being, the four Florida teams, rather. There's a lot of these guys know each other. There's a lot of competition factor there, right? They recruited the same areas. These guys played on the same high school team, same 7-on-7s and stuff like that, which adds to that, rivalry, right? And that's one of the reasons that, USF was able to get the upset against Florida. I think it adds to that. They know these dudes, right? And it's going to be a similar situation here, which I think is why 17.5 seems like a lot in this particular matchup, especially with what USF has been able to do so far this season. That said, though, I do think Miami gets the win. I do think they win by double digits, whether that's 10 or 13 or something like that. But 17.5 seems like a lot. But I do think Miami wins it in the end.
Got you. Maniac.
Yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely. I think 17.5 to me does seem like that's a stretch, man. These are two Florida teams. I know the Miami players, all they've been hearing about is South Florida, South Florida, South Florida. Right now, they the Florida champs. Right now, the champs of Florida is the South Florida Bulldogs. So Miami, another team that understands oh, wait a minute. No bueno. You ain't coming in here and going to do the same. I think this is going to be a fist fight. South Florida, just as long as they can play a clean game, minimize the penalties, no turnovers, tackling in space, they will be in this game for the entirety of the game. But I just think Miami, this might be another team that I'm not saying they on the mission, but just better than what they've been in the past. I think they just have a little more weapons on their roster. So and I think Beck, this is a game to me where Beck can really put his name in the forefront. Now, many say against South Florida. Yeah, you know what? Y'all hyping this team up. I'm going to cook their ass. And what y'all going to say then? Lagway couldn't do it. If you said Beck or Lagway, I guarantee people going to take Lagway over Beck. So you know what? Beck, go in there and take care of business, man. Something Lagway couldn't do. So, yeah, I'm definitely going Miami in this game. But this is going to be a fist fight. A Florida game, a lot of talent, a lot of speed, a lot of hitting. But when it's all said and done, the U.
Got you. The U is back, they say. Marcus, what you think about that?
What kind of show is this, gentlemen? It's a college football show, right?
Yeah.
College football show. What is a college football show without crazy predictions?
Yeah.
I think I've, again, been very clear about how I feel about coaches like Mario Cristobal. And this is a spot where, like y'all said, this is not just a game on the field, but this is a recruiting game. This is an area supremacy game. There is more riding on this game for South Florida than there is Miami. Miami is number 5 in the country, right? If they drop an early game to an out-of-conference opponent to South Florida, they can chalk it up as, early season woes, go on, run the season, they'll be fine. If South Florida doesn't pick up this win, they don't have many opportunities to duplicate this situation again for the rest of the season. I've been drinking Voodoo Ranger since 10:30. Give me the South Florida Bulldogs over the Miami Hurricanes. You heard it here first. The Michigan side of the house divided got the Bulldogs.
Woof, woof.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Bulls. The Bulls.
The Bulls. I said Bulldogs earlier too.
Oh, yeah.
Got it.
No, I got South Florida, man. Give me South Florida. If there's going to be an upset, a huge upset this weekend, it'll be this game.
Okay.
Sure.
Got you. Josh?
I already told mine.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Josh already went. So it's on me. And I think USF started off the season. They surprised everybody with Boise State, but it's Boise State. I mean, that ain't saying that much. I mean, you lost Ashton Genty, and this ain't Peterson's Boise State back then, Statue of Liberty. So that was like okay. But then when they did what they did to Florida, it was like, oh, these boys might be for real slick. So going into this game against Miami, you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. You're not sneaking up. So now it's all right, y'all. That okay. So Miami's gonna be locked and loaded to beat these dudes. Like they're not surprising them today. So I'm gonna think Miami's gonna be focused in, and this is the great thing. We're gonna find out if USF is really legit. Because right now it's like, they snuck up. They beat Boise. They snuck up on Florida. If they mess around and find a way to beat Miami, then it's like, okay, these boys, they got something brewing for real. Mm-hmm. Alex Olish, he's doing something. But I don't see it happening. I think they might be able to keep it close, but I think Miami's gonna be able to pull away from them. So that's what I got on that one. Now on to our game of the week. This is a big time college football Saturday, my brethren. So game of the week, we got number 6 Georgia at number 15 Tennessee. They're in Neyland Stadium, top 15 matchup. And will Tennessee finally be able to beat Georgia? Because they ain't been successful at doing it in recent history. So what do you have on this one? Let's start with Maniac.
Yeah, man. Big time game. Obviously, the game of the week. You got Kirby Smart versus Josh Heupel. Arguably the best coach in all of college football, going up against one of the up-and-coming college coaches in college football. I think when I look at Georgia, right, again, they don't lack talent. But what I've been seeing from their quarterback, right, he's not really throwing down the field. A lot of screen passes, a lot of intermediate passes. Now, mind you, that dude Kobe Young, they have number 8. And then, of course, they have Zachariah Branch, who the last game they didn't really give the ball much to. But they do have playmakers on the outside, something they did lack last season. They do have good running back. I think this Georgia team is going to be a drag-them-out Georgia team. It ain't going to be the flashy Georgia teams that'll dominate you 45-3, 45-10. I think they're going to be in every game because I just don't think their quarterback is explosive enough, but he can do just enough to win. The problem is they're going into a hostile environment. Tennessee is due. They have that Aguilar kid, half Mexican, half Puerto Rican, maybe Ernesto's brother right there, inside joke.
Yeah,
hey, morena, mexicano, boricua. So I think Tennessee, man. I think Josh Heupel's onto something. I really like what he's doing with Tennessee. They recruiting well. They got talent. They have an identity. Georgia is still finding that. It's hard to go against Kirby just because of his track record, right? If it's not Alabama, as long as it's not Alabama in the SEC, you got to like Kirby. But I think this is a game where, again, another fist fight. There's going to be so many fist fights today. And I think that Tennessee finds a way to win only because they at home. I think that's the advantage. If it was in Athens, I would have went Georgia close. I'm going Tennessee in the close game. My final score 20-14 Volunteers. Rocky Top.
Got you. M3, can you do something for me?
Yeah, I agree with Maniac on the outcome of this one. I think that Georgia's offense is not very good. Gunnar Stockton, I believe, has completed he's got the lowest completion percentage. I don't know if he's completed a pass or down the field for more than 50.
Yes.
Something crazy like that, right? So this offense is anemic. Tennessee is playing pretty good football. I like Josh Heupel in Tennessee in this one, and I think they covered a spread, which is obviously if they're going to win, they're going to cover the spread.
They're going to spread.
Yeah. But I like Tennessee, and sort of a big. Give me 10 points, Tennessee plus 10, or winning by 10.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay.
Sheesh.
Marcus, what you got?
Yeah, man. So last week we had a similar matchup where everybody was on the Iowa State train, and I'll concede you guys were right. I was looking at the fact that Iowa State hasn't beaten Iowa in Iowa City in 14 years. Now, I don't imagine that the stat is that demonstrative with Tennessee and Georgia, but it's got to be somewhere in that ballpark. It's got to be something pretty big the last time that the Tennessee Volunteers beat the Georgia Bulldogs. I hear what you're saying. Georgia, especially compared to years past, is offensively deficient. What I didn't hear y'all say is that the defense is slipping. What I didn't hear y'all say is that the defense has major issues, major gaps that can be attacked by Tennessee. The same way we're assuming that Georgia may have some offensive struggles versus Tennessee based off of what we've seen from them this season. I think there's some level of dip down for Tennessee's offense versus Georgia, being that that'll probably be the toughest defensive, will be the toughest defensive stint that they've had this season. It's very hard for me to pick Josh Heupel over your boy Kirby Smart. My football brain says Tennessee, but recency biased and just the history of the game feels more Georgia. I'm going to go Georgia. Give me the Bulldogs, the real Bulldogs this time. The real Bulldogs this time. I'm going to take Georgia to cover, obviously, 3.5. Yeah.
Got you. Josh, let's get it.
All right, now, this game of the week. This is my segment. I'm undefeated. So I got to keep the streak going. And so when I look at this game, I'm looking at both teams and I think about who has the most pressure going into this game, right? Tennessee just can't get right against Georgia. It's a game at home, so they have to defend home against Georgia. Georgia's going into this game feeling like they are going to get this one, and I think they are. Something about the confidence going into a game against a team that you should be winning against. I just got to give it to Georgia. Plus, if I know Kirby Smart and I know this Georgia team, Kirby Smart is going to have this team running like a Hellcat.
That's probably fair.
So I'm going to give it to Georgia. I thought y'all were going to get the joke about the Hellcat.
Nah, the Hellcat running like a Hellcat. Yeah.
It is. Give me Georgia in this game.
Yeah. Got you. This one I'm struggling with a little bit because Georgia, they can't throw the ball very well, or they're not attempting to. It's similar to what Michigan has been doing. Screen. But so they still got the defense, but then on the other side, Josh Heupel's got a quarterback that he can throw downfield again and do what he wants to do, and that's really throw downfield. The problem is they're going against Georgia. Will they be able to stay balanced and run that ball to close out the game if they do get a lead? You don't close out a team passing it. You close them out by running the ball. So that's where I'm stuck on this game a little bit. because both teams seem to have deficiencies going against each other, but which one is going to be the bigger deficiency? I'm gonna go with Georgia. I kind of don't want to, but I just have a tough time picking against them against certain teams.
Right.
And I think this is the last year that'll happen with me. I'm gonna have to see them lose some more of these games this year, and then I'm all right, Georgia. I'm done just picking y'all. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think they got to, like Marcus just said, they're gonna be doing donuts in them Hellcats. Georgia, they're gonna be doing donuts. They're gonna be having the meetup, the meetup. So, I'm gonna go with them, and I guess we can bring Josh back up for Josh's Get Money with Josh.
Be as good as the best of them, but as bad as the worst. So don't test me. You better move over.
I get it. I get it.
Hey, I run New York.
Hey, yo, dead ass B. Dead ass B. Dead ass B. Dead ass B. Yeah, Get Money with Josh. Dead ass B.
Hey you.
Yeah.
Where did you find that little do rag from?
Next week, y'all gotta play Shane O'Mac's entrance music from the WWE. Y'all gotta play. Here comes the money.
That opening segment was crazy.
Yo, I like that. Yo, fire.
Anyway, go Ohio State and Michigan this week because both of them are going to continue to show and prove why they should be playoff teams. I'm still going some first half spreads, even though Penn State really pissed me off last week. But Oregon's first half spread, Texas first half spread against UTEP, I believe, and Oregon's playing Northwestern. Go those first half spreads. And if you want some parlay picks that'll just boost your parlay a little bit, Auburn over South Alabama, Buffalo over Kent State, UAB over my alma mater, Akron. Pick those, just boost your parlay a little bit. And if you really brave, choose between Miami and USF. Choose between Notre Dame, Texas A&M. Choose between LSU and Florida. Those are my picks. Yes. Ass B. We try to get you some cheese for your chopped cheese. You know what I'm saying? The Aki way. You feel me? Dead ass B.
Yeah, chopped cheese.
It's brick outside. It's college football season.
Hey,
you heard? You heard?
Hey.
You heard?
Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. Take the pick, son. I gave you the pick, son. Josh giving you the game. He giving you the picks. Don't be dumb.
Don't be dumb.
Y'all sound like some Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, y'all sound crazy. What are y'all even doing? What is this?
No, you
this is off the ego.
He changed quicker than Batman.
Hey man, I'm ready. The Buckeye game here in Columbia.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Get Money.
Yeah.
So that's about all we got, y'all, for this one. It was a good show. You know, we calling out these picks. This is a good week of college football. Yeah. We kind of got a break and had some upsets last week, but this one is right back at it, and it's some good ball about to come on.
Yeah.
So
pretty much from 12 o'clock to the evening. So it's just, man, if you're a college football head, man, this is the week, man, just to be home, crack open some Hennessy or cerveza, whatever you like.
Cerveza?
A cerveza. Let me get one Frio cerveza.
and let me shout out LeBron Peoples becoming a member.
Yes,
and
sir, LeBron. Shout out to LeBron. We met him. We met him at the spring game.
Yes,
I hate
sir.
that profile pic.
There was no You Get Nothing segment. It'll be back next week, though.
No doubt. Yeah, after this week, for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's see what Michigan does, man. They about to kick it off like in 6 minutes.
Yes, sir. We're going to leave y'all with some money on your mind.
Be as good as the best of them, but as bad as the worst. So don't test me. You better move over.
Ladies and gentlemen,